Ian Kevin Huntley was born into a working-class home in Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire, on the 31st of January 1974, the first son of Kevin and Linda Huntley. An asthma sufferer, he had a turbulent time at school, often the target of school bullying. And this problem escalated until, age 13, he was forced to change schools. He left school in 1990 and decided not to continue his studies to A-level, despite reasonable GCSE grades, choosing instead to go directly into employment. In the years after he left school, Huntley already seemed to have developed an interest in young girls, and he was seen out with 13-year-old girls when he was 18. In December 1994, Huntley met 18-year-old Claire Evans, embarked on a whirlwind romance, and married her within weeks. The marriage was short-lived, however, and she left Huntley within days, moving in with Huntley's younger brother Wayne. An enraged Huntley refused to grant his wife a divorce until 1999, preventing his brother's marriage to Evans. Following the collapse of his marriage, Huntley became more nomadic, moving from one rented flat to the next, frequently changing jobs. He had a succession of relationships, one of which was with a 15-year-old girl, with whom he fathered a daughter in 1998. A subsequent inquiry revealed that between 1995 and 2001, Huntley had sexual contacts with 11 underage girls, ranging between 11 and 17 years old. On the 7th of January 1998, he appeared at Grimsby Crown Court charged with having burgled a neighbour's house, and in May 1998, he was charged with the rape of an 18-year-old girl in Grimsby. Neither case proceeded to court due to lack of evidence, but the rape allegation tainted him substantially. In February 1999, he met 22-year-old Maxine Carr at a nightclub, and they moved in together after 4 weeks. The relationship endured despite some turbulent arguments, and they moved to Littleport, near Soham, in 2001. There Huntley took a job at the Soham Village Centre as the manager of a team of caretakers. In September 2001, he applied for the post of caretaker at Soham Village College, and in November 2001, despite his history of sexual contact with minors, he was awarded the position. Carr was employed as a teaching assistant at the local primary school. In the early evening of the 4th of August 2002, two 10-year-old girls, Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman, were on their way to buy sweets, after leaving a family barbecue when they walked past Huntley's rented house in College Close. Huntley saw them and asked them in, claiming that Carr, who was known to the girls through her work at their school, was also at home. Carr, in fact, was away visiting relatives at the time, and within a short time of Holly and Jessica having entered the house, Huntley had murdered them both. Huntley used his car to transport their bodies some 20 miles away, where he dumped them in a ditch and set them alight, in a bid to destroy the forensic evidence. Later that evening, Jessica Chapman and Holly Wells were reported missing, and a police search began at around midnight. Over the next 2 weeks, the search escalated to become one of the most widespread and publicised in British history. Several witnesses came forward, including Huntley, who claimed to have seen the girls shortly before they disappeared, and his home was searched routinely in order to eliminate him as a suspect. Huntley also granted television interviews to the press, and his unusual interest, together with his emotional involvement, made investigators suspicious, leading to a wider search which revealed the half-burned remains of Holly and Jessica's shirts in a storage building at Soham College where Huntley was employed. At about 12:30 p.m. on the 17th of August, a 48-year-old gamekeeper named Keith Pryor discovered the bodies of both girls lying side by side in a 5-foot (1.5 meters) deep irrigation ditch close to a pheasant pen near the perimeter fence of RAF Lakenheath in Suffolk. Having participated in the search for the children, Huntley regularly asked police officers questions such as how their investigation was progressing, and how long DNA evidence could survive before deteriorating. One of these officers observed 3 vertical scratches on Huntley's left jaw, each measuring approximately 3 centimeters, which he claimed had been recently inflicted by his dog. On the 16th of August, 12 days after the children's disappearance, Huntley and Carr were first questioned by police. Both were questioned for approximately 7 hours. Each gave witness statements before being placed in a safe house in the village of Histon. By this date, police had received information from several Grimsby residents who had recognized Huntley in the television interviews he had given, and recalled that he had been accused of rape several years earlier. Others said that, contrary to her televised claims, Carr had been socializing in Grimsby town centre on the night of the girl's disappearance, and was not at home in Soham as she had claimed to the media. The same evening, police conducted a thorough search of both 5 College Close and the grounds of Soham Village College, where Huntley worked as a senior caretaker, as the couple remained under police watch at separate locations outside Soham. Each room of Huntley's home had evidently been recently and meticulously cleaned. Having discovered the children's clothes at Soham Village College, police decided to arrest Huntley and Carr. Both were arrested on suspicion of abduction and murder at 4:30 a.m. on the 17th of August. Investigators had stated on the 7th of August they strongly believed the children had been abducted, and announced their strong suspicions that both girls had been murdered on this date. During initial questioning, Huntley refused to answer questions and appeared evasive, confused, and emotionally detached, occasionally drooling during police attempts to question him in an effort to feign mental illness. This left police with no option but to refer Huntley to a mental hospital to undergo an extensive psychological evaluation. By contrast, Carr quickly confessed to detectives she had lied about her whereabouts and her partner's actions on the 4th of August, as shortly before she had returned to Soham from Grimsby 3 days later. Huntley had claimed to her in a phone call to have seen the 2 girls shortly before their disappearance, admitting, "The thing is, Maxine, they came in our house." According to Carr, Huntley then informed her the children had entered their home in order that Wells could staunch her nosebleed. He then claimed to her Chapman had sat on their bed, as he had helped Wells control the bleeding from her nose before both girls had left their home. After being informed of the discovery of the children's bodies and the evidence of Huntley's guilt, including his fingerprints being recovered from the bin in which the children's clothes had been found, Carr burst into tears, shouting, "No! He can't have been. It can't have been. He hasn't done it." By the 20th of August, investigators had established sufficient physical evidence from Huntley's home, vehicle and Soham Village College to charge him with 2 counts of murder. The trials of Huntley and Carr opened to worldwide media interest at the Old Bailey on the 5th of November, 2003. Huntley was faced with 2 murder charges, while Carr was charged with perverting the course of justice and assisting an offender. The defense called Huntley as their first witness, and he described how he had accidentally knocked Holly Wells into the bath whilst helping her control a nosebleed, and had accidentally suffocated Chapman when she started to scream, and he had tried to silence her. On cross-examination, the prosecution described the latest version of his story as rubbish. After 5 days of deliberation, the jury rejected Huntley's claims that the girls had died accidentally, and on the 17th of December 2003, returned a majority verdict of guilty on both charges. Carr was sentenced to serve 3.5 years in prison for perverting the course of justice, but she was freed under police protection in May 2004, as she had already spent 16 months on remand. Ian Huntley has recently been treated for head injuries resulting from a fellow prisoner attacking him in a workshop. The prison service confirmed a prisoner was taken from HMP Frankland, a high-security facility in County Durham, to hospital on Thursday morning 2026.